Hello, this is John Kvale, and this is our Q3 newsletter, quarterly review newsletter that I do in video, audio, podcast format. So those of you that are driving, don't take your hands off the wheel. I always say that. But those of you that are listening and watching, I'm going to go through our newsletter, which is very unique. Last quarter's newsletter was all about all the incentive plans. We rushed that one and totally changed the newsletter that we had planned. This quarter's newsletter is some really good stuff that I'm excited. Now, you're going to notice something that is just not in this newsletter, and that is there's nothing about the capital markets. We'll just have a discussion about that a little bit on the end of the month video, but this is all basically about economics and healthcare, and it came from a conference that switched and went virtual and just was excellent. Now, you also may notice that those of you that are looking, I have a ball cap and I'm in my car. We just got rained out, or we're on a rain delay at a tennis tournament. One of the first tennis tournaments to occur in 4 months. It is here locally in the state of Texas, but it's exciting to kind of get going again a little bit. And hopefully you're going to be as excited about this information as I was. So a little bit of background. This Peter Diamandis is a gentleman that I ran across several years back. He gave a lecture at a big conference. I thought it was extremely interesting, and he was one of the prominent speakers at this virtual conference that, by the way, I'd like to attend for almost a decade, but never took the time to get out and do it because it comes at a bad time around tax season. When it went virtual, we were able to digest this, and I ended up buying Peter's book, audiobook, and I ended up buying one of the referenced authors that he talks, one of his books as well in shortened format. So here we go. This is many hours of research, some of the slide deck from Peter's discussion. I hope you enjoy. First of all, obviously, let's see, those of you that are in listen-only mode, I am in just the very first page. This newsletter, the way it's set up, actually is going to make this video very easy because I don't have to jump around. I can just go right through it. Those of you that are listening, this guy, I don't know when that Peter sleeps. He's founded 22 companies. He's a member of a half a dozen or so and has associations, as you'll see in a slide later, with another 10 to 15. So basically, if you want to listen no more, but just want to listen to this, then someone's about to try and get in the car. We'll see. If you just want to listen to this part, this is a high-level summary of what Peter said. And basically, he says we're never before have we been united with a common enemy. There's between 100 and 200 people that are working on curing this. And what we're going to get is not just a cure. We're going to get an avalanche of medical advancements. We're going to likely have the next decade worth of medicines pulled forward in a very short time, several years, and the next half a decade worth of medical improvements is probably coming in the next 12 to 18 months. The byproduct of all of this, those of you that are listening, I'm about to scroll up. I'm on page 2. Those of you that are listening, the byproduct of this is that this is going to leapfrog us, in Peter's estimate, way forward with medical advancements. The medical advancements that come from this, and I mentioned the pairing of Johnson & Johnson and Google as an example. We've loosened some of the regulations. We have a common enemy, and everybody is on board with this. I just think the massive amount of mixing technology and medicine, I agree with Peter. That's why I was so excited, and I hope that you enjoy this newsletter because it is one that is quite different. Okay, those of you that are listening, I am looking at an exponential trend versus a linear trend. If you want an example of an exponential trend, look no more than the coronavirus. That was an exponential growth. Most of our thinking and what we do is linear. 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 is 3. Exponential is 1, 2, 4, 16. Then it goes up that direction. I use this because the blending of computer power on an exponential basis, and the merging of it with healthcare. Those of you that are in listen-only mode and driving, again, keep your hands on the wheel. The computer power has doubled. Moore's law was a law that the founder of Intel had mentioned, and it started in the 70s, and it said that the computer power would double every 2 to 3 years. It didn't. It went even faster. You merge this computer power with the advances that we're going to see in healthcare, and we are looking, the future is bright. And then those of you that are listening, this is a kind of a summary. There are 20 gene therapy treatments that are approved and 400 trials going on. Peter has a lot of contact. He's out on the West Coast. He's got a lot of contacts with these companies, and he mentioned who's who of his kind of Rolodex. Those of you that are old enough to remember what a Rolodex is, and he knows all of these people personally, and that's what makes it so interesting. A lot of these people he is actually involved with in business ventures. Okay, those of you that are in listen-only mode, I've moved on to another slide, and it is prime editing. What is so interesting is you approximately 32,000 viruses are caused by 2 messed up DNA codes. And I'm sorry, there are 32,000 major viruses, and half of those viruses, 16,000, are caused by just two genetic codes. Through his contacts, Peter understands that they're getting closer to correcting these 2 genetic DNA mess-ups, which would not only have 1 cure, but could have 16,000 cures. Think of the possibilities of that. And now you've got a green light for everybody because of the current situation of an acceptance. He also talked about gene therapy and CRISPR, CRISPR being used to fight cancer. He had some wonderfully good statistics that I'll let you read on your own, but basically CRISPR would be used to potentially correct 89 up to 90% of genetic defects. Okay, sliding on down to getting near the end of this article, making the 100 years old the new 60. What's very interesting is, and this is David Sinclair, who's a friend of Peter's, and the book that the shortened form book that I also read in order to get this newsletter out, basically through what David Sinclair believes is that through appropriate medicine, he will be able to extend our lives dramatically. Just think about the possibilities. Now, this is interesting as well. Stem cell, I hear lots and lots of things about stem cell, and I did not know this, but basically as we get older, our stem cells, we have less of our stem cells. And now they're on the edge of having the ability for us to get additional stem cells as we go through life, and that would also help us continue to live longer and be healthier. So, okay, in the essence of time, I'm going to just jump on to the next article. I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I did. Ian Bremmer, I had actually run across Ian before as well. He gave a fantastic speech, and I'm going to hit the high points of it. The most important point, and it's kind of counterintuitive, is that we could be entering a Goldilocks economy. And he mentioned something that I'd never thought about, that geopolitics are cyclical. What he means is that when we have a war, a conflict, or something like that, several things are set up. Usually, his example are post-World War, we set up the National Security Council on the United Nations. Well, what happens is as time occurs, those entities become old. And Ian's neat thought is that because of this conflict, we may have the ability to update some of those entities that will make the world a safer and better place. It's caused by a bad economy, but everybody's going to be, once again, unified to try and set up some new institutions. I go into detail also on the winners and losers. I'll let you read that on your own, but basically China, he thinks China wins with the smaller third world countries. He thinks the U.S. is going to win with technology. We're a little bit behind China right now, but he does think that we will begin catching up. And then he thinks it's a neutral for Europe. Those are the big three. I hope that you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I'm going all the way down to the parting thoughts in that the key dates. July 4th will be markets will be closed on the 3rd. July 15th is the unusual extension for the taxes, and that. Oh, I'm just messing up here. Let me see if I can get my screen back. Okay, and that's it. Labor Day is September 7th, Labor Day. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did making it. And as I leave you, I've got sunscreen that apparently has decided to get in my eye and make it very red. And I'm going to finish it there. So we'll talk to you at Q4, which will be here in no time. And hopefully you agree, when we can all agree with Peter, that the future is better and faster than we think. Thanks so much.